about taking away health care. These are basic, should be food and health care in this country of more than what we need. People who are gluttony. It's a country of gluttony. How can you figure that the first thing you need to do to balance a budget is to take away from those that don't have? And those who are struggling. I'm working at Walmart. I need the stamps. I need the health care because the big bad bully at Walmart, the people who own it, who are billionaires twice, three, four times over, don't want to pay people what they're worth. So that's why people are doing that. So that's what we were talking about. I don't know how we got.
Well, you got to that because you were talking about, he was giving an example of democratic principles that he thought were quote unquote un-American. You were talking about, he had already answered what you said, Lisa. He conceded that MAGA gets it wrong more than they get it right. He said that. So we can acknowledge that. So he did say that.
And that's what we're going to bring up.
Yeah, but what he was saying about defund the police is absolutely wrong, and he understands that. And my point to you, TC, is that you're doing exactly what they're doing. You were co-opting that message to use it against Democrats via propaganda, even though you
that's not true. You know that's not true.
I'm going to tell you why you're doing that. You're doing that because it was not an official slogan of the Democratic Party. It was embraced by some progressive activists and a few Democratic politicians, but it was not the official slogan of the Democratic Party in any way, shape, or form. You are using that as you know that it did come from the Democratic Party. You're using it because it came from some Democrats who happen to be aligned with other organizations like Black Lives Matter.
So Quinn,
You're using that as an evidence of Democratic.
Let's dialogue.
No, let me say something. Wait, before you go, let me just say this. You're full of shit, and you know why you're full of shit to even bring up defund the police when
Brooklyn, I want to respond to you in a minute. Let me deal with Quinn
when
right
we were
now.
talking about defunding the police, you voted for Biden. So you're a fucking hypocrite, okay? Stop with the bullshit. We already know why. We know why we didn't win. We get that part. For you to keep bringing up all of these asinine points that have nothing to do with what we're talking about right now in 2025, it's ridiculous. Like, you voted for defunding the police, TC.
Did you really vote for
What the fuck is you talking about? He voted for Biden, and he was supporting Biden until Kamala won. Ran.
That's fucking.
Like, the nerve of you. This is why you should have shut up.
That's a good point.
Before you got started.
All right, are we done? Are we done attacking the person that disagrees now? Can we get back to the
He wasn't attacking. He was pointing out your inconsistency.
No, I'm very consistent. I'm very consistent, and I've been consistent. I've been consistent. I was at Lisa's. April, you were April's. Stop it. Hold on. I can deal with. Listen, you guys are ganging up on me now. First it was Lisa. Then it was Quinn. Then it was Brooklyn. Now I got to respond to April. Like you guys stop. April, you were in the. Yeah, because you're now maligning my motives. You're maligning my motives and saying I was inconsistent. Somehow this is just. Well, then I'm going to defend that because you were in the very room I was in with Lisa. You were in that room when I came out and flat out told you guys there's no reason why Kamala Harris should be running right now. You need to have an open primary. You need to have some sort of convention, some sort of like open debate system. So again, this has nothing to do with.
But that's not even accurate.
Because somebody decided to try and bring up my voting consistency, I had to defend it. But let me go back to Quinn.
But you do.
Wait, hold on, Quinn.
No, I'm saying, but as a point of contention, brother, real quick, you do have to acknowledge what she said. If you voted in lieu of that. Then
you're what are you talking about? My voting has nothing to do with
Biden. Well, I understand that, but I'm saying that it's tough for you to make that argument.
It's not tough. If you actually listen, hold on, dude.
Okay, I'm willing to listen.
You think you got me dead to rights, bro?
I didn't say that.
Why I came out against Kamala Harris? I don't know if you know why I came out against Kamala Harris, but you'll know it has nothing to do with defund the police,
I'm sure.
Voting for defund the police or any of that shit. I don't even know where that came from. But anyways, let me just say, let me. Yes, I introduced it because I have proof behind it. Unlike what you're saying, Quinn, you're actually wrong. This was not just some sort of like disjointed messaging from fringe groups in the Democratic Party that got, co-opted. That's exactly what you said.
No, sir, I can repeat what I said. I didn't say that.
But okay, all right. Well, like I said, it was actually the position of the Democratic Party.
It wasn't. Okay, that's exactly what I said.
Okay, so let's deal with that then. You guys know me by now. I don't come on stages and say shit I cannot back up.
Okay.
You guys at least know that.
No, we don't know that you're going on shit and back shit.
Anybody can Google this. Minneapolis police. Hold on. Anybody can Google this. Anybody can Google this. The Democratic Party, the Democratic elected city council in Minneapolis literally pledged to dismantle their Minneapolis Police Department. This is not conjecture. This is not speculation. This is documented historical evidence. You can go look this up by the Democratic officials in that city. It was not some fringe group. It was not a co-opted message. It was the policy position of the Minneapolis City Council that was Democratic. Secondly, Camden, New Jersey. We know that they failed it and they overturned it eventually, but Camden, New Jersey, from their Democratic lawmakers committed to, excuse 2020, go look it up. Quinn, no, we're not talking about 2024 right now. We're talking about 2020 because Quinn said I didn't know what I was talking about. I had no proof to disprove his assertion that I was wrong, that this was some sort of co-opted messaging campaign. No, it was
that was not a national platform.
Stated, I didn't say it had to be. We talked about this before, Patty. It does not have to be a national platform for that to be the messaging that groups across the country adopt so that they can ideology. All I'm saying is this: you cannot expect Americans to sign up for the type of bullshittery anti-American messaging like defund the police that cities started adopting across this country, Democratic cities particularly, and say that's not the Democratic message. Maybe I'm wrong.
You were wrong.
Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I'm dumb. But that's the message that everybody got, and that's the message that defeated you guys in 2024 because they were able to. Because you gave the Republicans the ammunition.
I'm about to say, but defund police was doing COVID. That was 2020. That was during COVID.
Hold on.
So why are you bringing up something that would happen in 2020 where the person who you decided to vote for just last one had actually lost? Defund the police was 2020.
That's what I'm saying. This is a pointless point. If you would have said the trans issue, we might have could have went with that, but you didn't. You and Lisa were talking about now. This administration, this last election, you want to bring up 2020. This is why we don't listen to you. And no, you never come with any points. It's never right. You're always wrong.
TC, I have a question for you. Are there, and we know that there are, so I'm just being rhetorical, but
I would like for you to grapple with the reality that your position was wrong, that this actually stated policy position of Democrats in office. They adopted the messaging and they promoted the message.
Well, the problem is that you're addressing and that's exactly what I was addressing by asking you that question. Because there are some Democrats that link on to some policies. Does that make it a Democratic position?
It does for that city. Yes, it does.
Well, I didn't say for that city. I asked you a general question. I didn't say for that city. I said, does it make it a general Democratic message? Because there are some Democrats that latch onto that message. You can say yes or no. It's a really easy answer.
I think he left.
Yeah, see, I was getting ready to expose the hypocrisy in his messaging because he actually voted for a party which he doesn't align with all of the things in the party. He actually voted for a party and voted for it, even though you co-opted that message. You still don't agree with everything in the party, but you still voted.
He doesn't align. He doesn't align. This is all an act. That's why he has stupid talking points.
Got you. Okay, we can move on.
Yeah, this is an act, y'all.
Shit was just, oh my God. Like, out of all of the things he could have mentioned, he about to say defund the police.
This is why I tried to
and he literally
swerve the conversation. But nah, people with me and me, I've dealt with him doing this shit for 2 fucking years now.
See, I don't talk to him that much, so
like 2 fucking years. I remember when he was biting, he was biting, and all of a sudden it just went to Trump out of left because Kamala became the goddamn nominee.
That was the only
like we've seen every fucking thing to vote with you. That's why I said I'ma just let this go ahead and go, cause people like Whitney land on top, Whitney did it. I said, okay, I'ma let his ass talk, and he talked his ass into a fucking swivel. Thank you.
No, I didn't. In every position I stood on, everything I said. I didn't talk myself into it. I appreciate you for letting me speak. I think I've spoken enough.
You said we lost. You said that the Democrats lost an election on something that was in 2020. That is crazy. You can't come back from that. You can't come back from that. You said they lost an election off defund the police when Biden won that election. Democrats won that election.
Hold on. Calm down for a second.
He voted for that.
You guys are confusing two completely different things. I was talking about messaging that Americans rejected.
Right.
And I referenced defund the police. What Quinn said was that was not the position of the Democrats. Those were fringe groups that adopted the messaging and co-opted it. It got co-opted, is what he said.
He about to try to swizzle his way up out of his bag.
You mentioned Black Lives Matter, which is actually what I mentioned originally.
Black Lives Matter is not a fringe group. They're still
okay. So it's fine. You want to quibble over semantics, Queen?
I'm not quibbling over semantics. I'm saying
fine.
that
I'll concede that point.
Black Lives Matter people
they're not a fringe group.
No, I'm talking about
y'all about to see Houdini.
I'm doing
y'all about to see Houdini in the flesh. How he about to try to get himself up out of here.
I'm actually over the conversation because you guys can't even deal with facts.
No, I'm not.
I'm whether or not Black Lives Matter is a fringe. I'm looking at the core basis of what I'm saying.
That's not what I said.
When you presented, but you haven't presented.
I started making wedding plans. Oh yeah. I done had to get put on some goddamn what's love got to do with it, cause what TC got to do with this conversation, we don't fucking know, baby. He about to try to get us all off topic, all derails and all to try to prove a point. I know it ain't gonna work out fine. It ain't gonna work out fine. TC be telling you it ain't gonna work out fine. Oh no. No, it's not gonna.
That's what about everything, nigga, and I wonder how you can swivel out of that one.
I wasn't referring. I just mentioned that they weren't fringe groups. TC. I'm acknowledging your point. There were some Democrats who embraced that message. My point to you is what you said is not true, in that it wasn't a Democratic policy. Hence the question I ask you.
But Quinn, I just proved to you it was a Democratic policy. I gave you actual city councils that literally created policy around that messaging. Which is what got interpreted by Americans. Okay, fine. Hold on. Fine, that's fine, Quinn. I'll give you that. I'll concede whatever you want me to concede. At the very least, what you can't do is you can't run away from the reality that this was messaging perpetrated by the Democratic Party that got nationally syndicated.
And if that was the case,
and that's what,
it was a good message because Biden won based on it. If that was the case, then it was a good message because Biden won when that message was fucking popular. So what your point is still not right. You're wrong. Either way.
We're sitting here talking about 2020 while last week an American, a veteran, was arrested and held for 3 days by ICE. We're talking about this fucking bullshit. You know why? Because they don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about alligators. They don't want to talk about Epstein. So they're deflecting about how Democrats are so horrible and terrible and never do anything right, blah, blah, blah. While the Supreme Court, the White House, and Congress are all Republican, all on that side, and we're in hell right now. But you want to talk about 2020 and defund the police. This is wild. The depths that you guys will go to not to speak about what's going on today.
And he'll be gone in 5 minutes because he don't want to talk about real stuff.
The terrible decisions of their 2024 vote. Let's talk about that and how people are losing. His supporters are losing in real life. Let's talk about that. Like, all them trailer park people are losing their fucking Medicaid and their food stamps. All of them.
It's not only the
It's
trailer.
real base.
It's not only the trailer park people that are going to be affected by the Medicaid,
but I'm just saying, like, his people.
The most vulnerable people. The most vulnerable.
Yeah, I'm specifying his people though that live in the trailer parks.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But I think, like, again, like, my issue with, okay, granted, like, okay, we're like, oh, you know, fuck around and find out, right? You guys, you know, buried yourselves. But at the end of the day, this is going to be so disastrous to the healthcare industry, and it's quite scary how the emergency departments are going to be inundated with a lot of sick people. A lot of people are not going to be able to receive preventative care. They're not going to be able to afford the medications that they need to be on. Also, that the premiums for people like us are going to increase because, like, Medicaid historically doesn't really pay, right? And so private insurance has always picked up, you know, the cost lost due to Medicaid, and now our premiums are going to increase, which we know, like, the primary catalyst for people, you know, declaring bankruptcy is due to medical costs, outlandish medical costs. So I'm just like, I'm so disgusted with, like, how you guys are saying with the Republican Party and how they want to use distracting measures to not focus on what's really affecting the American people, which is, like, the healthcare infrastructure, or the lack of healthcare infrastructure, the lack of housing, etc. It's just, I don't know, it's just really sad that we're in this state right now. TC keeps windmilling for.
Dude is late, gone. He's gone. He comes up.
I can't even see who's in the room.
Yeah, my whole point with dude is always asking him. I was going to ask him this, and he doesn't stay around long enough because he sees where it's going, obviously. But are there Republican policies? Are there policies that are considered Republican that aren't actually, that most Republicans actually don't even agree with? And I know he can't answer that question. He'll try to obfuscate and you know, and try to divert from the question. But there are plenty of Republican policies that are considered Republican that most Republicans don't even agree with. So I mean, there's an endless line of them. So and I know he doesn't know that. But I mean, I was just going to ask him, because that's how you box him in. And he obviously is going to start windmilling when you do that. But people like him always do that. He's trying to make an argument that because some Democrats made that argument, that apparently it's now Democratic policy, which is dishonest and disingenuous.
I gave him 5 minutes. He left in 2.
Anytime you turn the conversation to what's currently going on, they will not stay and discuss it with you. And if they do, they'll stay and say, well, you know, that 13-year-old, she was probably twitching her ass in front of Trump, and that's why. It's always something. It's always somebody else's fault. It's always something else going down, and he had no choice to do what he did. They can't conversate on that.
I just want to thank y'all. I've been here for a couple hours just listening, not saying shit. Wanted to a few times, but the way y'all been running them off is fucking hilarious. Y'all helping me with my editing for my YouTube videos I gotta drop today.
I just don't understand why you gotta be disingenuous. Like, make the argument in good faith, man. If you're wrong, you're just fucking wrong. What's the point of what's the problem with just being wrong about something? Don't make the argument unless you understand it. Like, there's Joe B. Like, I know she doesn't have a fucking clue what she's ever talking about. But she asked me the same question. Well, she's asking the question to what most Republicans agree to. That's dishonest. You don't even know what the framing of the question was. She would agree with me if she actually understood the framing. She doesn't even understand. She's just arguing to argue. And to me, that is stupid. I hate when people do that.
So one thing I will give Joby, she does believe in what she's talking about. TC, you can't even, it's not the same.
It's stupid nonetheless, but she didn't even understand the framing of the argument. She's disagreeing with something she probably fundamentally agrees with. She doesn't know what she's talking about.
Can I jump in for a second?
Okay, so be nice and let Jovi go ahead and say what she gotta say. Oh, I'll wait.
That's L. That's L.
No, go ahead. Oh, go ahead, Elle. I'm sorry, sweetheart.
Yeah. Just a couple things.
I just said.
It's okay. I want to remind all of us that the slogan from 2024 was "We're not going back." So let's not go back. I completely agree. We need to stay in the present, which is, I would agree, hell. I want to bring up two things. One is that one of the things we're starting to see now, and this is kind of sad to me because one would hope in a perfect world we would all give a really big shit about the fact that people are being disappeared off the streets. But one thing that's now developing is that humans who are willing to show up at an ICE raid and actually even take a video on their phone, much less actually confront these mass goons, are now also in danger of being deported. That's number one. Number two, I mentioned Gaza in the chat because there is true hell going on there. It was just determined that the remaining Palestinians in Gaza are now at what's considered the fourth level of malnutrition. We're talking about such a horrific situation that if I have to go back to 2024, I'm going to say, and I'll say it many times, yes, obviously, I had much more confidence in Biden and Kamala. However, when it came to Gaza, they were not willing to take a stand in terms of the fact that we are continuing to fund the genocide. Yes, that's my word. I'm going to stand with it. I'm not going to fight with anybody here. I do not have the energy. But it is a horrific situation, and we are still in it. And whoever is going to take the helm is going to really need to take a stand on this government continuing to fund that. So that's what I wanted to say.
I'm sure they're meeting with DSA.
Amen, Al. I concur.
I'm going to put an article, I'm going to give the room an article and a piece by Ezra Klein that was in the New York Times today that addresses what is going on in terms of Jewish people and Israel right now, because it is tearing my community apart. It is tearing my own personal family, my two children apart, but it's a much, much bigger issue. And, you know, we keep talking about we can't tolerate watching children starve. But what are we watching? We're watching it 24/7 on our phones like we're in some frickin' simulation. It is not a simulation. It's the real thing. We just have to fight that. I also have a petition I'm going to put in the chat. It's a petition I'm going to ask you to sign that says that you will not support any politician who votes to continue sending arms. I'm not talking about defensive weapons. I'm not talking about the Iron Dome. I'm talking about the horrific bombs that are turning children into amputees, burning their skin off, etc. It is unthinkable, unbearable, and to me, we just cannot look away.
Is that where we're going with the conversation now?
I didn't necessarily mean to reroute the conversation, just wanted to give my 2 cents.
Oh, I just had research. I was curious about the messaging for the 2024 campaign. And you know what it was? Like, we know what the Republican, what Mr. Trump's was, right? You know what it was for the Biden-Harris ticket? Let's finish the mission. That is just the weak, like, most of us probably didn't know that was the slogan for that campaign. So that's an example of poor messaging, because I didn't know what it was. I don't know how many of you know that.
I'm asking because I don't know. I'm talking about as far as this situation.
What do you mean, this situation?
The Gaza-Israel situation.
Oh, I asked if we were pivoting there, and she just said that she wanted to get that off her chest. But if we're pivoting there, that's cool.
Oh, I thought you said that was I thought you were still on that topic.
Yeah, no, we were talking earlier about messaging, and so I wondered what were past administrations and campaigns, what their messaging was. They're different over the years, but I focused in on what the Democrats was.
Obama's was yes we can.
Yeah, we know that. I'm talking about. See, what you just mentioned, that was clear. I'm saying the messaging and the campaign slogan of the 2024 election. I don't think if I would have asked anybody this without saying the answer, most of us would not have known it. But it was.
Hey, Robert, I was actually saying that to agree with you. Like the fact that we don't have, like when you see the Golden Arches, you know it's McDonald's. You know what I mean? When you see a MAGA hat, you know it's Trump. When we hear Yes We Can, we know it's Biden. They didn't have that slogan attached to the Kamala. That was just undeniable, irrefutable, embedded in your brain type of marketing branding. Now, she might not have had enough time to do so, though, because she really had to rush her campaign. So, for the time she had, I still think she accomplished a lot. But I think clear branding is like, even though it's not business, this is business. Politics has become business.
I thought that Kamala Harris was "We're not going back."
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was "We're not going back." Yeah.
And what was that? What was the?
Let's finish the mission was not her slogan at all.
That's before. Oh, you know what? That's probably.
What was that Beyonce song that she kept coming out on?
Freedom.
Yeah. It was those two things. But Robert, what I was saying is, I thought the message for Israel Gaza was to finish the job or whatever that was you said.
Crazy. That's a massacre over there. Like, I'm not arguing anybody about what's going on in Palestine. This is a clear, those people are decimated. Like, what's going on there is just, it is the result of a very aggressive Netanyahu. That's all this is. That, like, we are really living in the time when we look back over this years, we're gonna realize that he went in and ravaged them, literally. Like, it is ongoing. Like, there's no question about it. But some people will try to make a reason for it, and I'm not having no problem. Is that your
background?
Yeah, I got my gospel. I got a little gospel rocking. Yes, I had my brunch. I made a delicious brunch, and I'm just unwinding and trying to listen to this conversation. Y'all all over the place, so I'm just tapping in here and there. I don't want to get into no big debates there. I don't even have the energy.
Hey, real quick, I did want to go back to something that Quinn was expressing earlier. I couldn't chime in because I was moving around, but working. But at the end of the day, I kind of really agreed with him when it came down to the moderate aspect of Dems and how that is the majority, and a lot of people don't appeal to that. And if you want to take it to an even bigger level, a lot of the mods that are Dems identify silently as the silent majority, and that is who Trump appealed to. He appealed to the silent majority, the people that are scared to express their opinions because they might get political pushback, but they still feel those feelings and vote along those lines, because it's kind of like being online. You won't know how they voted, and you won't know what their real stance is. Just like, the racists and the MAGAs, they'll come out online and say what they think, but they won't do that in person. It's the same way they vote. And I think that has to be identified and has to be appealed to. If not, I think there's going to be a problem again.
Wait a minute, hold on. I'm trying to understand your argument. You said that.
Not even an argument.
No, I'm trying to say your comment. You said that
you were saying unsilent majority. You were saying there are a lot of Democrats that are moderates, right? Yeah,
most Democrats are moderate.
And I'm agreeing with that and saying that those are part of the silent majority and they're not being appealed to enough. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you know what though? Honestly, I don't think that they need to be appealed to. I think there's a segment of the party who's going to vote Democrat, no matter what, just like their segment of Republicans are going to do the same. I think that the conversation we were having was I hate to say fringe, but there's a smaller segment of people who consider themselves, and the way the conversation came up, Jim and I, was we were talking about how the people how the Bernie Bros intersect with the Trump MAGA people, and it's that populism. It's at anti-government. It's at anti-establishment. So and that is not. Although they believe that it is, because they're a louder segment of the party. they believe it's a larger constituency than it is. And it's not a large group of people. They're just a very vocal segment of the people. And they believe that message is resonating, but their constituency is not growing because, as I've said time and over, and it's been confirmed, that the moderates in the party are the largest number of people. So, I mean, no matter how much, and that does not mean that their message is not important and it should be listened to. I'm simply stating that they don't even remotely represent most Democrats. And as a matter of fact, I would even almost, at the risk of being hyperbolic, I would say that they're literally kind of a different party.
I get what you're saying, and I agree with that. I guess what I'm coming from is a different angle. What I'm saying is a lot of the mod Dems are swing voters and a part of the silent majority, and if they're not appealed to, you won't know it, but they'll fucking line up on the other side, and you'll be sitting there like, what the fuck happened? Because you don't know who voted for who. They're not going to tell you they did it, they just do it. That's why they're called the silent majority, and that's why they're considered a part of the silent majority, and I do believe they have to be appealed to, or you might fucking lose it.
Hey, gentlemen, I have a question for you. So the Republicans morphed into the MAGA, right? What do you think the Democrats are going to morph into? Like, what can you give any insight on how you think it's going to transition into today's Democrat? Because the traditional Democrats obviously have fallen out of favor. But what are your thoughts on that, if you don't mind?
That's kind of curious. I mean, interesting. I'm curious as to what it could be. I'm not going to pretend to have insight on that because I don't see a clear-cut path right now for them to morph into an alternate form of the party or a subgroup in the party that's strong enough to represent a subculture, I should say, inside the party that could represent in a way that MAGA is
progressives. It's easy. Progressives.
Hey,
The working family.
So hey y'all, I don't know if y'all gonna have the men's room later or y'all gonna have it soon. I don't know, so y'all just need to let us know.
Okay, thank you. And so as a follow-up, Gemini, I haven't figured it
I'm
out.
talking to wait one quick. Just Gemini.
I'm down to do it, which is why I've been here, even though I haven't been talking. I've been here since like.
Yeah, so y'all need to let us know what's going on. So.
I'll join you guys in the grooming thing when you're ready. As soon as you're
it's organized and structured to do today. But yeah, I'm definitely down to host the men's room and get it started.
Patient in here, yeah. So y'all go ahead and start setting up your room and then send me the back channel and then I'll push everybody over there. But y'all go ahead and continue the conversation until they get this shit together.
Hey, you check your back channel.
I think that the natural progression, what has been the natural progression from establishment Democrats, I think that I don't even think that we can even call it an evolution. I just think that there's a fringe, and I have to keep framing it that way. There's a segment of the party who are a little bit more to the left than they are moderate. Those will be identified as progressives. Progressives tend to be a bit more in the alignment with the independent or Bernie segment of whatever you get. I don't even call Bernie a segment of the party because he's independent. Bernie shits on Democrats in a lot of ways. So it's just, I think that if you're asking that question, to answer that question, I think that's probably if you want to frame it as a progression, that's probably the natural quote unquote progression. That would be what the yin to the Republicans yang. You had the Republicans who after Obama, there was a segment that the Tea Party development, which actually ended up devolving into MAGA, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think, damn, what I just said, shit, you had me think. I think if Bernie was about 15 years younger, if he was a little younger, he could get some legs under him. But a lot of young people seem to resonate with him. I had a friend of mine who had mentioned him to me many years ago. And so Bernie now, he's up there in years now, but I believe if he were a little younger, you might see him and freaking, what's the Spanish lady, Ortez?
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
You're right, and I didn't mean to mess up.
No, it's all good, brother.
Listen, my mind is totally...
AOC, if you forget, just AOC.
AOC, you will probably see him and AOC on a ticket together. That would be interesting, but I think he's just old now. Yeah, well, I don't know, but I'm just being creative here.
No, I hear you. I'm just saying that, they would lose badly.
She's too divisive? You think she's too divisive?
No, I just think you got two people who don't add you, who are generally of the same mind on the same ticket. So I mean, they don't add anything to a ticket. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just to me it just doesn't work. And I think many people would say that didn't work. That would not be a good ticket.
What do they share? Is there any politics that
their politics are damn near aligned. I'm just saying. I mean, she's considered to be him in a skirt, for lack of a better explanation.
Okay, so it made sense what I said. Okay.
No, it's exactly that.
Okay, all right, thanks.
No, but I don't obviously, you know, if we're talking about whether that's a winning ticket, that's definitely not a winning ticket.
Any other thoughts on that from anyone else? No?
Yeah, I would venture to say that's a losing ticket. They don't add anything. You don't capture any moderates that way. The ticket is way too far to the left. And I think people misunderstand it. And someone please jump in and correct me if I'm wrong. But the moderates don't necessarily have a problem with progressives, other than the fact that some of the stuff that's being proposed is not conceptualized thoroughly. Right, all of the things sound good. I mean, that's a populist message. I mean, generally, so you get, you know, free health care. You get, all the things. Yeah, free. I was. So yeah, you get
money because you make more money than me.
Without a consideration that you have to still pay for those things. Like, they just aren't going to be free.
Right.
So they're just not conceptualized thoroughly. Like, that's the real problem. And it's the emotion around it and the lack of scholarship that really kind of turns moderates off.
I see. Because I'm wondering, like, I'm thinking, like, what is going to be the movement that's really going to galvanize people, you know, across all backgrounds, not just, you know, Black Americans, right? Not just, like, what the hell is it going to take for people to just, like, realize some things and come together? I have no clue, man. I done looked at it from different angles. I'm trying to listen to different voices, and nobody's getting traction. No one is getting traction.
Robert, did you say AOC and Bernie?
Yes, I wanted. I put that on the wall. I was pondering it. Yeah, I was pondering.
Queen's 1,000% right. That's an absolute lot. Bernie's too old. But
Yeah, it wouldn't even. Let's go with Trump. So we're talking about extreme on both sides.
The corporations would line up against them. They wouldn't go anywhere. AOC is a possible VP candidate for damn sure, but not with Bernie.
So who with?
But I'll tell you what will change the conversation. If you want to know what's going to bring both sides together, because like I've said many times, the Bernie Bros and the MAGAs are saying the same shit. It's going to be AI, and it's going to be as you have humanoid robotics, and we have a technological, what I think will probably be a technological recession worldwide, and it's especially attacking the working class, white collar working class, which is being assaulted right now. Intel's going to lay off 5,000 and maybe more. And as that continues, you're going to see both sides come together on the AI front. I think that's the absolute game changer in between 2027 and 2032.
I wish people would stop saying AI is the future. Like, AI is right now. Like, that future, you know what I'm saying? It's going to, now we're moving into a super intelligence. But AI is here right now, and people are using it, and it's now. Like, all that future stuff is crazy. It's now. It's happening right now in 2025.
But how does that correlate to? I'm curious. How does that correlate to the what you were saying, Trent, in terms of where you find, or the people find collective? We'll find a. I don't understand. You have to.
Because you guys vote with your pocketbooks. Truly, when it comes down to all people who are talking about this money, and what is going to happen? What is happening? It's not what is going to happen. Robert's 100% right. What is happening is you will see a congruence of minds in how to, as we have an economic calamity. I don't know how big it will be. You know, some people think it's 10 years off. I think I tend to I think
2027 is going to be a problem.
Yeah, I think we're within 18. We're seeing it. We're actually seeing it right now. It's starting to happen right now.
But I'm just trying to figure out where you think people are going to find some sort of where they're going to find a commonality between AI. I understand.
That's the question. And before you,
I think we're going to have what I think will happen, which I'm completely against, is universal basic income will be talked about on both sides. And I just want you guys to know I'm actually completely against that. But I think that's going to be and the changing of work-life balance. All these things are going to come into together. The social issues will become less and less because, to be honest, the Democrats win on the social issues with this upcoming generation. I think the social issues become less and less a problem, but the AI and technology will become more of a.
I think the economic upheaval will begin to surface in 2027. Two things are going to happen. Here's the convergence, right? The first convergence is going to be, first of all, let's realize SNAP and these other benefits. People say, oh, we want people to work. People are currently working and need SNAP, right? The problem is that the wages don't allow them to make ends meet, right? These large corporations are not paying at a competitive way for people to freaking live and do just the basic things, right? And so, again, most people that are on welfare and SNAP, a large percentage of them are hardworking, law-abiding citizens in low-paying jobs, right? I would have loved that package to have a component to transition those type of workers into to be trained and so that they can transition into other industries and make more money. So that's that. But I think the economic impact of people and what's going to happen once this law takes effect, I think we're going to feel that in 2027. Like, I think that's what it's going to hit. So I think the pending crisis will culminate in 2027. That's my thought so far at this time.
I don't see that there's any. Forgive me. I don't see that there's any commonality. I don't see that happening anytime soon. If it ever happens, I don't even see that there being one unifying thing that pushes people together. The universal basic income thing is interesting. I don't think that you're going to get that past anybody. To be quite honest with you, I don't know how we square that circle. Fiscally conservative Republicans and.
Do you agree that the economy is going to go awry? Do you agree with that?
Well, let me give a I'll give you a real world example. I won't be long lavender. I'm not like TC. I'm not an idiot. Actually, I'm in this for a living.
Wow.
When we began, when we began looking at AI for dealers in 2023, it was met with heavy skepticism. And this is.
What you say about Patty?
Piece of AI because you're using AI in the car dealership.
Yeah. So when we were,
I'm confused with putting in AI when you have no AI certifications or anything like that, Trent.
Okay. So when we began looking at AI,
no, I'm asking you a question. I'm not being funny. I'm asking you a question. What is your qualification in AI or IT? Besides being a car salesman, what are you saying you're in the industry? What part of the industry are you in with tech or AI? I'm confused.
Do you really think I'm a car salesman?
You're a marketer. Is what you say. I don't know what you are. I don't know what you are from day to day. I didn't know you were in AI or IT. So
He was a car salesman. Ain't nothing shitty for being a car salesman.
I'm not a car salesman. That's why my No, I'm in product innovation. You can go look at. My LinkedIn's public. You can go look at what I do.
AOC's impossible people.
So when we were looking at this, what is your question, my man? I'll answer it real quick. I'm not AI certified. I'm not.
Okay, so why do you say you're in AI like you work in an industry, Trent? Go on ChatGPT doesn't bring you fucking AI. So going on ChatGPT doesn't mean you're in tech. Like it's dumb to think that, bro.
No, so listen, you can ask me. What I do is I look at the companies, and I look at the companies and what they do, and how they will translate and make car dealerships better, right? And
That's not AI on tech. Okay, thank you.
it is AI. It is AI in tech. Will their systems conform with the system that we have in place when we're talking about DMSs, CRMs, the communication structure, and then they need to.
I research the best doctors, so I'm gonna start calling myself a doctor.
Yeah, but then they need to conform to all the state laws, which is why I was talking about. I've talked to you guys about the state laws before. But let me just give you this information, and you can say I'm stupid. That's fine. When we first brought this forward, I brought it forward because I'm supposed to look at products that are 2 to 4 years out from being fully adopted. AI in 2023 by a lot of people inside our industry was disputed, and we didn't. I'll be honest, it didn't complete sentences. It didn't always make sense. It would like there was a famous case where someone asked about a Silverado, and it recommended a Ford F-150 instead of the Silverado. So we weren't sure that this was going to be something that could be used. I'll fast forward. We launched, and you can look it up, page, and it's fine. We ended up launching, and this was part of my project I can talk about now. We launched Impel AI for communication for all dealers. And it's been extremely successful. And what is now happening, we are looking at other parts of the communication that have to do with video, that have to do with voice. And this is coming in. I'm talking to dealers. Dealerships, while you don't know, are often at the forefront of what businesses do. Dentist office, doctor's offices, healthcare, insurance companies often emulate what dealerships end up doing. And so because we're seeing this change in the automotive industry, I have no doubt it's going to spread to it is spreading to other industries.
So Trey, I'm gonna say one thing. So when you're done, I'm saying one thing, leave you alone, bro. Yeah, it's not even that someone trying to come at you, but you gotta stop bullshitting, bro. Just because your company is doing an AI software doesn't mean you guys are even fucking making it. I could get an AI software, anything right now. Hold on, Trey, hold on. You can give me any category right now. I can get a software for you that's white labeled by going to making one phone call or one fucking website and buying it, bro. Doesn't mean I'm the one who developed it because I'm putting my name on it.
That's correct. We do not make the software.
No shit, but you don't represent yourself that way. When you post into the room, you're talking like you're
not
behind the project. Not that you're behind the credit card.
All due respect, there's a huge difference. No, I'm not trying to say that I'm a programmer. I am not a computer science engineer. But what I do understand is the communication level between the consumer, between the business, which in this case is the dealership, and the usage, and then the sometimes the biometric, but the there's a word I'm looking for. The information that we can share about you. Right, your ID information, because it passes through multiple hands in third parties.
But wait, Trent, just so we're not going too long into that, because I don't think people are really following. How does that translate into this is what people's campaigns are going to be about? How does this translate to? You're not nothing you said is telling me we're going to start campaigning on AI. That the election is going to be about AI. The election is going to be about what did you call universal basic income? Nothing you said. That was the point you were trying to prove.
Yeah, I got you.
You did not.
So I'll bring it back.
I don't know where you're going.
Haitian kind of derailed me on that. But what happens is what industries call replacement of compensation. This is actually like replacement of jobs, and because there is significant replacement of compensation. It may not be replacing people's jobs right now, but it lowers the need. Typically, it lowers the need for you to hire additional personnel, and this is why we're starting to see an uptick in especially recent college grads. Their unemployment rate is starting to rise, incongruent to what we've seen in the past. And so I just in working with these things, I'm working with a video AI right now, the amount of people that are not needed that do graphics, that do video recording is going to be it is significant. It's not going to be, it is significant. And I don't see a system outside of, I will say this, outside of humanoid robots, which will end up taking over everything. Outside of that industry, I don't see another industry that's going to replace what AI is going to be.
Well, I don't see the correlation, honestly, between what can happen, or this somehow drives commonality between people, because that's what the original question was. That's what Dupree introduced. That's what we were talking about. So we were just trying to figure out how there was going to be a correlation between the two, and it really doesn't seem as if there's going to be any correlation. That's my take. There'll be no correlation, and at least not in our near future, where that bridges a gap, or that that is some place where there's some commonality between the two. I think the closer and the closest that they're going to get with the commonality is with the anti-government, anti-establishment take that is conjoined by the Trump and the Bernie. The Bernie Bros, where they align on that issue. I think that's the closest place where there's going to be any commonality, and that's very fringe. Like, that's a very thin margin. There's not very many people who, not even all of them, agree. But I think that's the closest.
The commonality is money and jobs. You're going to have more power in the hands of fewer people.
We have that now.
But yeah, I know. I mean, you think it's bad now. Google and Meta employ far less people than General Motors and Ford and Chrysler did, in the car boom between the 30s and the 70s. I don't remember the exact numbers, but all the people that used to be, that used to be a middle class living of making cars. And what I'm trying to say is
tech is going to be the biggest employer, but not really, because they're not going to need employee. Is that what you're saying? They're going to need UBI in some way?
What's said here is that AI will also make jobs, okay? People, like you talked about with graphics experience, they could go get their shit together, make a company that sells graphics now to the company they used to work for, because they're better at it than just leaving it to AI. You have to have someone who knows how to use AI, right? Then they could hire some of the people they work with who were laid off. So there's more ways to skin a cat, as they say, than just relying on, AI is going to take all the jobs. There's jobs AI can't do, and even robots. Are they going to be, for simple tasks, yes. For things like nursing, doctors, dentists, teachers, right? I don't see parents wanting their kids in classrooms with a robot. How does that work? That's not a human touch at all. That's not a human understanding. That's a whole different thing you're talking about. That's like, I could see them being an assistant, an accessory, something of that kind, but they're not going to take over the entire job market. And I'll give you an example, Trent. The little company started by my friend with $250 2 years ago. 3 months ago, she had her first $50,000 month. This month is $150,000. This is how fast AI is moving. This is how fast she's keeping up with it. And it's only going to go up from here. She doesn't have any special skill set other than she's a genius, is what she is in the field for self-publishers. Nobody else knows this the way that she does. And she's an amazing person with it. And she has hired, 12 people? And she allows people to give classes on what they know about AI, and they get a percentage of the money from the classes they give. You have to get in pockets of people. I know you talk to the bigwigs, but you also have to get into pockets of people who are actually doing things with AI and making it happen, and keeping people working, and giving them an out from jobs they don't want to do anymore. There's lots of people who do not want their 9 to 5 anymore, and they're happy to switch over to AI, task with AI, and get it done. And that's all I can tell you. I know you talking about the big 5 and the Ford, all these automobile companies and all these corporations. Yeah, sure. They're going to do what they can to save money. That's just what it is.
So it's not so I do talk to smaller AI companies. A lot of these companies are pretty small, but to give you an idea of the scale that we're talking about, Quinn. And again, this is not Trent Cannon saying this. There are multiple high-tech CEOs that are talking about that, from Elon Musk to Mark Cuban to the other guy that just spoke at TED, that see the possible technological recession. Here's an easy one though. Nvidia just hit a $4 trillion market cap. That is it is larger than any other company in history. It is actually now larger than Google and Meta combined in market cap. Nvidia only employs 36,000 people. And so what you're going to see, again, is a concentration of wealth at the top. And I'm in complete agreement with you, April, is we're going to need to change our work hours from 40 hours a week, standard work hours, down to 32 to 30 hours a week. We're going to need to make some changes in order to have a full employment. And as this comes into the next election cycle between 28 and 32, it's going to be a significant part of this.
The Black Men Speak Now room is open, so we're going to transition over there.
The answer combo, I need to go to other state.
Can somebody post the link, please?
It's not a problem to come here back, right?
I'm fine.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's because I'm scared, you know, it's
Patty, I'm gonna mute you up.
Here.
Okay. Hey, if somebody can give me the link, please, so we can shut down this room. Let me see. Oh, child. I left the room.
Let me see if he messaged me in my inbox. I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Louis, how would you describe your political leaning?
I'm a black supremacist.
You're a black supremacist? Where do you live? Cleveland?
In the dirty